Hello and welcome to the Pop Council Podcast, the show where we cover everything in pop culture. Each week on this show, we discuss topics in the geek world, as well as various fandoms such as Disney, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, theme parks, and everything in between. I'm Jami, Philbrick, editor-in-chief of Movie Phone and a board member of the Hollywood Critics Association. We have a great show for you today. We will be discussing the ongoing Flash problem, Madam Webb speculation, Zazie Beets returning for Joker 2, Emily Blunt joining the Fall Guy, and so much more. But it wouldn't be a Pop Council if I wasn't joined by my lovely co-host, Wendy Lee. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, it was so great seeing you actually in person and not in a tiny box on my desktop last night.
Yes. The HCA TV Awards weekend was this weekend. So the broadcast cable awards were on Saturday and then streaming last night. And it was great to see you, Wendy. It was a great event. We're going to talk about that a little bit before we get into the topics, but we've got not one, but two special guests this week joining us together from the Hollywood Critics Association, Yel Teagle and Mara. Hey guys, let's get you in here. Woohoo!
Hello.
This is our first 4-person show.
Yay!
Oh, that's right. If you don't count Murphy's guest appearances. Yeah.
True.
How are you guys? Well, let's start off actually because Mara, you've never been on the show, so why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, my name is Mara Kanopik. I am a new inductee into the Hollywood Critics Association. You may also have seen me doing some work in the past with Screen Junkies and with the Movie Trivia Schmodown. I am also a very passionate Trekkie and cat enthusiast.
All right. And Yel, remind everyone, obviously you've been on the show many times, but remind them what you do.
Yeah, I'm Yel. I work with Fanversation and Collider, and I have a show on the HCA channel as well called Hollywood Approved. We are on Tuesdays, so you can check that out as well.
I turned on my TV the other day, and I've got YouTube hooked up to my TV. So I turned on the TV, and there's Yel. I was like, whoa, who's on my TV?
It happens.
Let me start by asking you guys, what did you think of the whole weekend, the event? Let's go around the horn. We'll start with Mara. What did you think about, each night, having 2 nights, doing, all the awards and everything that this weekend was?
I mean, I had an excellent experience personally. Yel and I got to present an award together early on the first night, which was wonderful because then we really felt like we could be a little bit more relaxed and comfortable. I wore slacks the second day. Highly recommend. I think that we have definitely, as an organization, scaled up at each live celebration that we've had since last year. The TV awards were virtual, and it's just such an impressive thing to be in the same room the Golden Globes are in. It's like, yeah. I'm so incredibly impressed by how the organization has blossomed.
Yeah. I agree. It was so fun. I like that it was split over 2 nights.
Yes.
I think it was such a good move, and really allowed everyone to enjoy and everyone to celebrate, and also did not end up pitting streaming against broadcast because it is such a different, the budgets themselves are just so vastly different for those shows. So to be able to split them up and celebrate everyone properly was really nice. And I had a fantastic time. And like Mara said, it was really great that we presented so early so that we could just enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I had that experience. So I hosted the red carpet the first night, and that was pretty intense. But then got to kind of relax during the show. And then I loved the last night. I was the first presenter, and got to present to Norm Macdonald's family because he won Best Stand-Up, and I'm a huge fan of his. So that was great. But I agree with you. It was really awesome last night to then be done pretty much when the ceremony started and just chill and relax and watch the show. And we were hanging out a lot, Yel, you and I back in the back, watching people come in and out as they were, Michael Keaton's being ushered in and that kind of
my
stuff.
gosh.
Wendy, what were your thoughts? And I totally agree. I just want to say, listen, do you want to have one 6-hour event, or do you want to do 2.5-hour events over a weekend, and I thought it was excellent. And I agree with Mara, the way every year we just get a little bit more legit and a little better and better. And being at the Beverly Hilton, and I mean, this was amazing, amazing event. Wendy, what were your thoughts?
I mean, it was huge. I think all three of you went both days. I only went on Sunday due to scheduling, but I was watching it as much as I could on stream on YouTube, and the production value coming from like a production coordinator, I was like, whoa, this looks fantastic. And also thinking back as one of the founding members, of HCA, it's the members have put in so much work from year one, and it's really awesome to watch the journey and what has shaped into now. And I can't wait to see more and more and more. And I feel like we set that bar so high yesterday, and it feels good. I looked around the room a lot, because we're seated with talents, and there's a lot of really awesome people that I admire in the room. But a lot of the times I felt myself just watching people enjoying the awards, and I just was so happy the whole night, and getting to see people in person like Mara I haven't seen in years, and even if with Yell and Jami, we live in the same city, but I really don't see you guys that often. So it was just really nice. Plus there were puppies.
There were puppies. Yes, I felt bad for the puppies on day 2. Because it was a lot, I think, for the puppies. It was a big weekend for the puppies.
They're
and
like
they were out in the sun in the red carpet yesterday. So they were definitely tired. But that was great, and I totally agree. I was talking to some of our newer members who haven't been around quite as long as you and I, Wendy, and don't remember 4 or 5 years ago when we were at like a wedding hall was the venue.
Yeah, and it was still beautiful, but
but that's to the point I think you were making, which is every year we raise the bar. And when you start something new like this, obviously you're the new kid in town, and you've got to kind of work your way up. But I mean, we're legit. We are so legit at this point, more legit than some other groups that you might know quite well.
Shades thrown.
And certainly I think we can say that at this point. So I it was amazing. And then just to see like all the other press that, I remember, a few years ago at our movie awards, like the press was us. We were covering our own.
Right.
And now it's like
it was a very short carpet.
Yeah, every outlet shows up because, we've got the biggest stars, and it was just an amazing weekend, from Michael Keaton and the cast of This Is Us and Better Call Saul and Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
Oh my God, I got to meet Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's been like a hero of mine for so long, and everyone was really nice. It was a great weekend. I'm so glad we all got to do it, and I'm glad it's over and behind us. And we can look
Everybody's tired.
But so much fun. All right, well, let's jump into some of these topics. Not a lot going on in the nerd world this last week, but maybe the calm before the storm with D23 coming up in just a couple of weeks. And we know Marvel will be making some big announcements there. But Warner Brothers Discovery, and I have not gotten used to saying that yet, is continually having their Flash problem. We don't need to go into all the details. We've talked about this on the show in the last few weeks, but unfortunately, Ezra Miller has had another arrest, which obviously puts the new merged company, how they're going to deal with this film, which of course also stars Michael Keaton. We know with Batgirl, right? They've dropped, they dumped that completely because they don't want to go forward with this HBO Max, DC sort of plan, the new company. And so shelving Batgirl, of course, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago for the tax write-off. So what was announced this past week was sort of a 3-prong option for how the Flash can be released. And prong 1 is getting Ezra Miller into some kind of therapy, some kind of, rehab, if you will. and then having him come out before the film and do a Oprah Winfrey style sort of mea culpa interview. And then he can come back and do some selected press when he's promoting the film, when it's released next summer. So that's option one. Option two is he has nothing to do with promoting this film. The film is still released in theaters, but Ezra is not involved in the production, and an announcement is sort of made that he will not be the Flash moving forward. And, they deal with that when they deal with that. Option number three is what I'll call the nuclear option, which is this movie is never released. Now, there's a big difference between this and Batgirl, because Batgirl cost $90 million and they could get a tax write-off. This is $300 million they've already spent, and it's not clear to me if the tax write-off option is there for this. So now the fourth option that I've heard about that it seems they are not weighing is the option of reshooting, because that would just be too expensive. And we've speculated about that before, Wendy, on the show, the idea of reshooting. But Ezra actually plays two characters in the film, our Flash and a multiverse Flash. And apparently he's in every frame in the movie. And it would basically be spending another $300 million to reshoot it. So those are the sort of four options I gave you, but really the three are the ones that the company is weighing right now. None of it is good to me as a fan. It all sounds terrible. And I hate the fact, and, obviously we were talking about him because he was there last night, Michael Keaton, this was supposed to be the return of 89 Batman. I mean, this was going to be the Burton Batman return. And now at least one of his appearances has been scratched. I've heard rumors, and this is not confirmed at all, that he was supposed to be the Batman in Aquaman 2. And that because Aquaman 2 is now releasing before Flash, that's why Affleck did the recent reshoot. So that would make sense, because I've heard that in early Aquaman screenings, audiences did not understand why Michael Keaton was there. So that is sort of but I find it disappointing as a huge Michael Keaton fan and someone really looking forward to him being Batman again, that at least two that we know of appearances have already been scratched. And we don't know what's going to happen with Flash. So, Wendy, why don't you start us off? That was a lot of food for thought, but where are you at with this? And what do you think of those all terrible options? What is the best terrible option?
I honestly don't even know where I want to be at anymore with this topic. Every time I open Twitter, there's a reason that they're trending, and it's not great news. I really was looking forward to this movie, not just because the character, the Flash, but there was a couple other characters in this film that I really wanted to see, mainly Supergirl. I really wanted to see her as Supergirl, and I wanted to see how she portrayed Supergirl, and to have this Supergirl hopefully maybe move forward and see her again in other DC films. But now I don't know, and I get it, it's a Flash movie, it's not going to be all about her, but the fact that she was going to be introduced in this was really, really interesting to me. And I out of all the options, I feel like from a business standpoint, options 1 and 2 would probably be the best for them. I don't think option 1 is going to be likely, to be quite honest. I think option 2 is more likely than option 1, but I can see why they would prefer the first option. Option 3, I don't know how I feel about if they would actually pull the plug altogether and shelve this movie, especially after Zaslav was, speaking so confidently about this movie and Aquaman 2 and Black Adam and Shazam. Like, those will not move. So I think if he hadn't said that, a while back, maybe I could look at option 3 and go, oh, that's a possibility. But at this point, they've invested a lot of money into this. And I heard, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, I heard that just over, and I don't know if when they said summer, they meant this summer, because that's currently right now, or last summer, but Ezra Miller was on set doing reshoots. So if that was the case, and if that was this summer and they were there for reshoots, I don't think they're going to scrap the movie.
I agree actually with that. And I believe it was this summer, although I could be wrong about that. But that was my understanding when I read that as well. I agree with you. I think the nuclear option is the least.
The panic button.
That's the least probable. I think they're going to hold out as long as they can to see if they can get option 1 to work. And if not, then they go to number 2. I also just want to mention that it also has been revealed that the current regime's plan, and we kind of knew this from what we knew that this Flash movie was going to be, was headed towards a Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so it seems like, I know the new regime has said they have a 10-year plan, but it seems to me like it's not part of Crisis, and they're going to different, and it's just a lot. I mean, this whole DCEU has been stop, start, and they finally got to a place, Aquaman, Joker, Batman were huge hits.
Yeah.
And even the smaller ones, Birds of Prey, Shazam, did well. Kind of, reinventing the wheel again with DC is not something I'm looking forward to. But Yell, how do you feel about all of this? What are your opinions about what Warner Brothers should do about Flash?
So I think business-wise, they're going to go with option 1, right? They're going to see Ezra get some help, and then they're going to come out and make their statement, and the movie's going to come out. I believe option 1 is the cheapest option for them and is going to be the business move. Personally, my personal opinion is that you Christopher Plummer it and replace Ezra 100%, or you do not release it and you give us Batgirl instead. I think that's my personal opinion, is we do one of those two. I think that the most likely thing is option 1, is that they're going to get some help, which they need help. That is clear. But I don't necessarily, based on the things that they have done, I don't necessarily know that that's enough. And so I would prefer the other 2 options. I'd prefer we replace or we scrap.
In a perfect world, I'm with you. I would love to do number 4. Let's just put the money in and reshoot it and get an actor that we can work with for the next 5 to 6 years and just get this done. But I do understand
the cost. Good point. That's such a good point, though, is that it's not just right. I forgot that after this there will be more movies. So if they need help, this feels like we can't help them in such a short time, right? The help that they need will not be solved by the time this movie comes out and they do press.
Right. And they've already said, I think this is official, is that he will not be Flash after this film. If he is, I
believe they said that as well.
Yeah, that he's not, and I believe if they continue the Fantastic Beasts movie, he would be replaced. I think that I heard it's both roles.
So if they're going to replace them, then why not
just do it now?
Christopher Plummer it, people.
Right. No, I agree. Well, I think the issue is that he plays 2 roles and it is in every frame, and that they've already spent $300, and they would essentially have to bite that. And then,
look, this is going to cost them the movie anyway.
But then the question becomes,
where you're going to use the money.
Well, but then the question becomes, can a Flash movie, even with 2 Batmans and a Supergirl, be $1 billion film? Because if it's not $1 billion and they are spending 6 on production and then probably another 1 to 2 on promotion, they got to make 800 to break even. That's just not going to work.
To be fair, at this point, we've all talked about it so much, right? Unless they leave it as is and Ezra continues to star, unless they do that and nothing changes, it is going to get a bunch of people watching it just for the let's see.
We're going to see, yes.
The advertising is already built in with the bad
we're going to see this. Good point. Just we're dying to see what's done. But I personally think that Warner Brothers Discovery should replace them, and Ezra should not be in this role anymore.
It's a confusing financial position for them, because you have to think about is middle America, people that are perhaps a little less invested in the minutia of Hollywood, both on the screen and behind the screen, are they going to have the ability to separate art and artist? Because some people do, some people don't.
Sure.
And the curiosity factor, as you mentioned, but that's a personal choice for every single viewer. So how do they speculate where their money is going to come from, what demographics are going to see this movie, no matter what they do with it? So I don't envy their position whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's a great point, Mara, is like, how much does the rest of the country outside of LA and New York and the world, quite frankly, know about this or even care?
Yeah.
And so, and Yell, the idea of scrapping this and just going with Batgirl, I do love that. It's justice for Batgirl. Come on.
I'm pitching it here. I know that honestly, when we look at it, when we think about it, just from a business standpoint, option one is literally the cheapest, is going to solve their problem very quickly. But I think that based on everything that has come out, all of the stories, all of the crimes that have been committed, I think that Ezra definitely needs help, and I think that should be a priority. And
absolutely,
helping them just so that they can promote this movie is not a solution. And in addition, I mean, not to bring up all the charges, but the charges are grooming, and that is not solvable. Grooming is not a my bad problem. You know,
and also the people that have been hurt.
Sure.
I mean, I think that, of course, I know we all care, but just to mention them as well, that it's not just about getting Ezra help, but also trying to help the people that have been wronged.
Sure.
Right. I mean, that I do appreciate, we get a little bogged in about the nerdiness of the release but that's the larger point, right? Is that he's hurting people and people have been hurt and he needs help. I think that takes precedent over when we see the Flash movie in theaters and how it's promoted and who plays the character.
Right.
At least we'd hope that their ethics would outweigh their business, but you never know.
I don't see that happening.
Ethics, what are those?
Look, if their first option is we're going to get them help and then release the movie, then I don't think that they have Warner Brothers Discovery does not necessarily think about the ethics of this situation.
I don't disagree.
It's a difficult situation for everyone involved. I think we can certainly say that. Well, moving from DC to Marvel, but not MCU Marvel, that weird Spider-Man pocket Marvel over at Sony, and addressing again. This is let's categorize this in the rumor mill. Cosmic Circus this past week. Had some interesting thoughts about who's playing who in the new Madam Webb movie. So we know that Sydney Sweeney, Dakota Fanning, Adam Scott, and Emma Roberts.
Dakota Johnson.
Sorry, I said Dakota Fanning. I meant Dakota Johnson.
I was about to be, Dakota Fanning?
That'd be so cool.
I love her.
And my default mind went to, I guess in my mind, Fanning is my number one Dakota. So sorry, let me say it again. Sydney Sweeney, Dakota Johnson, Adam Scott, and Emma Roberts. And there's been a lot of, and we've talked about it on the show, who's playing who. We know the character of Madam Webb as an older character. You see here, we had some fan casting ideas of Helen Mirren, and that maybe some of these actresses were playing younger versions of the character. So what Cosmic Circus is saying is that Sydney Sweeney will play Julia Carpenter, the younger character, and Dakota Johnson will play Cassandra Carpenter, who is the character you see here. Obviously, she would be playing a much younger version of Madam Webb, and that Adam Scott and Emma Roberts are playing
I read that incorrect earlier.
Is that incorrect,
it's
Wendy?
Mary Parker and Ben Parker, according to the article by the Cosmic Circus.
So I was about to say that we had them down as as Peter's parents, but they actually are going to play
younger versions
of Ben and Aunt May, Uncle Ben and Aunt May. That actually Well, I'm glad to hear that because I was having a little bit of a flashback to the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Mans with the introduction of Richard Parker and the mom. So, yeah, really interesting. I mean, I like Adam Scott as a young Uncle Ben and Emma Roberts as a young Aunt May. So let's start with you, Mara. What are your thoughts? Is this anything to be believed? Do we think, does this make sense with what we know about the characters and the casting so far?
It's another one that's a little vexing, but it's intriguing. This isn't necessarily the first time that we've seen like a comic derivation take a hard pivot. Sometimes they work out well, sometimes they don't. Also, it's an early casting rumor, may not be true. Plus, they're still casting. So clearly if the perception amongst the public as the rumor mill churns is very negative, it could change. So I'm optimistic. I really hope. I think Sony, surprisingly, I never thought I'd say this, is doing a really good job with Spider-Man. So I hope that this ends up being something that we can all really enjoy and that they keep this upward trajectory success.
What do you think, Yel?
What about you?
That you're so optimistic. I'm such a pessimist. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like this. I do agree. Adam Scott would be a very interesting young Uncle Ben. Usually I'm a fan of a May December, but I feel like Adam Scott and Emma Roberts feels weird.
Well, Mary Parker is Peter's mom, no?
Oh.
May Parker.
Oh, May, right? Yeah, May. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I misheard you. So he's playing Ben and she's playing Mary, so she would be his daughter.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. Or no, his sister.
Or sister.
Say.
Sister.
Yeah.
Totally. Then 100% into it.
This. Let's do it.
Yeah, that would actually work.
That actually works really well.
Yeah, because the other way was going to be.
Well, and I assumed Emma was playing a little older than her. Actually, that's how I made it work in my head.
I mean, I don't know how old the actress is, but I would say she's late 20s, early 30s at best.
She's my-ish age.
Yeah.
So
really?
She just looks so young.
Yeah, and Adam's in his 40s.
Right.
Yeah.
I think recently he has started playing older, I guess.
Right.
So anyway, either way, if they're not dating, then yes, I'm into it. I think that's much better. I totally see. Oh, early 30s, great. So I think I could totally see them as siblings. Siblings. And as for the Webbs, the others, the Webbs, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very unfamiliar with those characters. And oh wow, what a nice super chat. Thank you.
Hey, y'all.
So yeah, I as for the Webbs, I'm not so familiar with them, but I am fascinated. I think Dakota Johnson's the films she chooses and the stories that she's picking is a very interesting trajectory, and I am excited to see.
It's been really good.
Yeah, I'm
She's a really good actress. I like her as an actress.
I think she comes from good stock. So so I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, I'm optimistic about that.
Oh, yeah, Miss Pessimist.
Yeah, I don't know how I got so optimistic in this conversation. I think because we realized what we did wrong.
It was Mara. Mara's optimism rubbed off on you.
Yes.
She wasn't in the room with me. I would have been like, I don't like it.
Wendy, what are you thinking about the Adam Scott, Emma Roberts part of it, and also just sort of who's playing who as far as these Madam Webbs? Do you think we're going to get different versions of the character? Do you think they're just going younger with her, or we're going to see her at different times?
I would like to see her in different times. I feel like as we edge more and more into the Spider-Verse in the live action version of it, because we already got a really good chunk of it in the Miles Morales animated one, which is so good. But I would really like to see them explore it because it's quite vast. And it's interesting that Dakota Johnson is going to be playing Cassandra because she technically is a bit older. And I still feel like I can see Helen Mirren in that role, but that's fine. She's also playing another superhero in another universe. So it's all good. She may be very, very busy. So I'm curious about the script, where they're taking it. And I think the biggest piece of surprise for me really isn't who's playing Cassandra and who's playing Julia. But the inclusion of Ben Parker and Mary Parker, like that's quite interesting. And according to the articles here, it looks like they're focusing on the early 2000s. So then it would mark potentially when Peter was either just born or about to be born. So that's going to be interesting to see, and how, if that connects to like the MCU Peter Parker played by Tom Holland, or because we've established the Spider-Verse, is it going to loop all the way back to like the Tobey Maguire version of Peter Parker? That would be interesting.
Or a new Peter Parker.
Or a new one.
Miles.
What's that, Mara?
We can't forget the Andrew Garfield version. Peter 3.
Peter 3.
Right. It's Peter, right.
Peters.
Absolutely. You could have Peter 3, or maybe a new Peter, or Miles. I think it's interesting, the introduction of Ben, and I hope that this film sort of sets up Madam Web as a larger character, so that she can then go and be the Madam Web we see right behind me here, in future films, whether those be Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield returning films, or our buddy Tom Holland, or a new character, or a live action Miles. I think there's a lot of Spider-Verse to navigate through, and I hope this is more of a setup for something to come, and that it's kind of like the backstory.
Yes.
But we will have to wait and see as more news is announced about that. But just a couple quick casting things before our time is up. There was some news this past week that Zazie Beets is in talks to be returning for Joker 2. I'm not even going to try to say the French title. But for Joker 2, obviously we know as well that Lady Gaga is confirmed to appear in the film as well, along with Joaquin Phoenix, and that this will be a musical directed again by Todd Phillips. Whether Gaga is playing Harley Quinn or not, that is the popular theory, but we'll have to wait and see. So, Wendy, let me start with you.
I'm actually very curious about what Yell wants to
start with Yell then. But I guess my question to whoever would like to take this is, if we are to believe that Gaga is Harley Quinn, and if we believe that Zazie Beets' character's relationship with Joaquin in the original movie was in his head and not real, what role is she playing in this upcoming sequel? Is it sort of in his head kind of version? Do you think we'll see the real character return? What do you think, Yal?
I think this film doesn't need to exist. I think that
I don't disagree with that.
I think that Gaga is an amazing actress. I think that she's an incredible singer. I think that she's very talented, and I wish her so much success and future success, and continue to work. I do not think this film needs to exist. I do not think that I would be happy to be proven wrong, but I do not need to see her as Harley. I think that we have some good Harleys, both in animation and in live action. I think that one of the big problems over at the DCEU is there is no EU. It's just, here's this one and here's another, right? Like we have 15 Batmans. We have 15, we now have a bunch of different Jokers. I just don't know that this movie doesn't need to exist, guys. And it doesn't need to be a musical. And as for Zazie, like, I think she's incredible and she's so talented. And I would love to see her continue to work in Deadpool.
Hot take from Yell. All right, Mara, what are your thoughts?
My take is also spicy. I agree. This movie doesn't need to exist. I mean, the first one as just an indictment on the mental health care system. Love that aspect. Didn't need it connected to an IP, but that's just me. So seeing more of that just kind of, plus I saw King of Comedy and I liked it way better. Right. But I will say this, having Zazie perhaps be an in-your-head character that worked really well in Jessica Jones season 1. So this could be something, it's been done and it's worked. Also, I have seen a weird offbeat kind of dark musical. It was called Annette, and I loved it. So I want to say I don't need this movie. I don't want this movie. There's a strong possibility I end up liking it, which is going to hurt me.
Yeah, I think we both can admit that we can be wrong. That is possible.
Oh, I'm wrong a lot.
But at this point, we don't need this.
I actually, you kind of convinced me. I agree with you. I like the idea of they made a great first movie. Like, just leave it there, you know?
Yes.
There are many, and this is a hot take, but there are many great franchises, I think, that have been ruined by trying to do sequels. And I'll just say Ghostbusters and Back to the Future are two for me. I think the sequels aren't as good as the original, and we didn't need them. So,
Wow.
you know,
Fighting words.
Love it.
but at the same time, I understand Back to the Future made a lot of money. Ghostbusters made a lot of money, and Joker made $1 billion. There is going to be a sequel to this.
So much money.
No matter what. So that's thinking over there at the studio. Wendy, what are your thoughts? Do you agree that Joker 2 is a waste of time?
I mean, I think we both said on the show when they first announced it, we're like, is it necessary? Technically, no. Because the first movie, with the way it ended, it was perfect. The movie affected me so much that when the credits rolled, I couldn't get up, and I just sat there and sobbed, watching a man go through what society put him through, and the result of that. Did anybody see that warp that just went by?
I did.
Yeah,
it's like a firefly.
Yeah, little orbs. So I hope that the second film doesn't take anything away from the first film, because it was so good. And now it really does feel like they're just trying to connect, like, okay, Joker worked really, really well with Joaquin. People liked it. So now we got to do a second one, and we're going to put Harley in it. The more I thought about it, I don't hate the musical aspect of it if they do it correctly. If they want to play into the musical portions of it, you know, more of like in your head situation, sure, that can work out. But I don't want the entire movie to be like, let's just burst into a song, because it's not cohesive to the first one.
Yeah.
But if you make it, same thing with the Zazie Beets character, like, it makes sense that she would come back.
Right.
You know, as a returning character. So am I going to go watch it in theaters? Absolutely. Do I feel like they need to do it? Not really. But at the same time, you know, they got a lot of talented people on it. And I know Joaquin Phoenix isn't the type of actor who normally do sequels to films. I believe he's quite choosy with his projects.
He's never done a sequel.
So I am going to say perhaps he read the script and he really enjoyed working with, you know, cast and crew of that movie. And he said, give it a second go. Like, that script's got to be phenomenal, I think, for an actor like him to say, well, okay.
I'm a little bit more cynical, because
you think it's the
yeah. Oh, the budget is skyrocketed because
he gets money, big money offers anyways.
Yeah, but this one, they're like, the original movie didn't cost much money. I think it was like 50 million or something like that. They've already spent 50 million on Todd, Gaga, and Joaquin. They are getting big money up front. So I'm a little bit more cynical. I know what you mean. He's very choosy about scripts. Yes. And you're absolutely right. I mean, he had lots of money thrown at him. Remember, he was one of the names thrown about to replace Ed Norton as the Hulk before Mark Ruffalo. And his name was also thrown out as the Doctor Strange before it was announced as Benedict. So he had been, you know, courted by superhero movies before. And I'm sure he's thrown a lot of money. And so... I'm a little bit more cynical and think that they're all doing this for the money. The script may be great, you know what I mean? But I think it's for the money. And the studio, quite frankly, is doing it for the money as well. Sorry, Yell. What were you going to add?
I just wanted to ask, we said that he's never done a sequel before, but has he done anything that had a sequel?
Oh, that's interesting.
Ooh,
like, the sequel
great
was
question.
made and he didn't do it.
Right.
Oh.
Like nothing he doesn't do projects that tend to do sequels, right? He tends to do more I don't know how to just
Yeah, no,
linear story
and
dramas.
movies,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I think that there's been talk of a Gladiator sequel over the years. I think that's the closest, probably. Yeah, thank God that was never made. That was probably the closest. But you're right. Like,
I don't think he's done any
I mean,
films.
they easily could have done a sequel to Signs if they wanted to. Like, that is, an alien invasion kind of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I agree with the concept of what you're saying, which is he, in general, doesn't usually do movies that would even garner a sequel.
And I think that when he signed up to do this one, it was like,
because he was told there'd be no sequel. Yeah,
right.
I heard a lot of that during the press.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, frankly, I'm a little surprised that he agreed to do it, which is again my cynical thinking is because of the money.
Theory. Like that makes me feel like you're even more right. And they don't call it the almighty dollar for a no reason.
True.
Absolutely. All right. Well, one last casting thing. We'll just go around the horn real quick. I'm really interested in this movie. I don't know if anyone else is here. I don't know if anyone remembers the 80s television show, The Fall Guy. I loved this show when I was a kid. It's the greatest concept for a TV show. He's a stuntman by day and a bounty hunter by night. And it starred Lee Majors and Heather Thomas was one of he had like sort of two partners in the bounty hunting. And so we already knew that a film was being made. David Leitch, who of course was a stuntman himself, and Ryan Gosling. Originally, I think it was sort of being called the Untitled Stuntman film. It's unclear to me if it is really an adaptation of Fall Guy or if it was sort of the Untitled Stuntman movie he was already working on, and then Universal said, well, we have this other thing that you can use this IP title with. But Emily Blunt has been cast as the female lead, whether she is playing the Heather Thomas role or a new role. It's not even clear if Ryan is playing Colt Seavers, which is the clever name, Colt Seavers, of the character Lee Majors played. So I don't know. I guess I'll start, Yell, with you. Do you remember The Fall Guy? Do you care about The Fall Guy? Do you care that Emily Blunt is making this David Leitch action movie with Ryan Gosling and who she might be playing?
I mean, I was not familiar with the show. I have never seen it. I have now heard of it. I love an action movie. I love a movie about the entertainment industry. I like the idea that for those not in the entertainment industry, this seems very reasonable to me that a stunt performer would also have to be a bounty hunter, because that's how this industry works, is that you have to, you're going to see your favorite people on TV and they also have a day job. So I that seems, now that I live here, I get that. That's a thing. So this sounds fun. I'll watch it. I like action. I like excitement. I like this cast.
So excited.
I am so excited. I love excitement. I think Emily Blunt's great. I mean, she is so versatile. I'll watch it. Yeah, I'm in. You in?
I am a sucker for excellent practical fight choreography, which is what you're going to get in a David Leitch movie. Right. And I think Emily Blunt is more than capable, both as an actress from the emotional standpoint, but she's also done a lot of her own stunt work when she's been able to in movies that have had even things like just jumping. Because some people don't want to do that. But
she was in the Jungle Cruise. Yeah. She was amazing in the action of that.
Wasn't she pregnant?
I think so, probably. Knowing her.
Do you know her?
No, but I feel like wasn't she pregnant recently or
by that, Yell? But okay.
I don't know. I feel like wasn't she pregnant in a few movies?
But I'm actually not really familiar with the show because I was still an unfertilized egg during its entire run. So, but I love the 1980s. I was born 10 years too late. I should have been born in the 70s. So I'm actually really excited to check it out.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, it's very much of its time. It's sort of those 80s kind of the A-Team and Knight Rider and those sorts of shows. But do yourselves a favor and just YouTube the theme song. It's one of the greatest, and I believe Lee Majors sang it himself. And it's one of the greatest theme songs. And it's like, and they name drop like Burt Reynolds and Sally Field and Clint Eastwood in it. It's got a line like, I'm the unknown stuntman that made Eastwood look so fine, or something like that. Like, it's really, really a clever theme song. Wendy, your thoughts on Emily Blunt's casting in The Fall Guy, and just the idea of Emily Blunt? And I don't believe we've seen her and Ryan Gosling together before, have we?
Not yet. That's going to be a very hot stream, because those are two very beautiful people. Yeah, I remember the first time we talked about the Fall Guy movie, I think when they announced it or something like that. And when you pitched me the topic, I said, huh? The video game? I thought it was like those little meeper things. And I was like, what kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Remember I said that? And you're like, no. And that was the first time I found out about this, TV show. Now that they're casting Emily Blunt, and kind of to echo the girls' thoughts, she's so versatile. She can do anything and everything. And I want her to do anything and everything, including The Invisible Woman. Please make it happen. Somebody convince her. Give her the monies.
Yeah, right.
Give her the monies. But and also with David Leitch, taking the lead on this, you want anybody to film a cool action movie sequence, you get a stunt person, because they get it. There's nothing more I hate. You call this like high action, great action, and it's all up close, shaky camera. I'm like, I can't see anything. Where's the choreography that the actors and stunt doubles, took weeks to train and learn and perfect, and it's all lost in a shaky cam. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm curious to see like what kind of vibe they take with it. You were talking about, that was it like 70s, 80s TV vibe. I'm into it. Emily Blunt can do comedy and drama.
Definitely had that 80s sort of cheesy vibe to it. I'm thinking it'll be more of an updated, like I said, like I'm not sure how much it's really, if it's just using the IP title because they own it, how much of an original story it is, going back to how connected it'll be. But it'll be interesting to see. And if I learned anything from today's podcast, it is that I am really, really old. So we want to thank you all for tuning in and remind you that we are just one of the shows on the Hollywood Critics Association's YouTube channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and tune in to Pop Council every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And also check out on our YouTube channels. You can see the red carpets from both nights of the Broadcast Cable and Streaming TV Awards, as well as the full broadcasts of each ceremony. And if you don't have time to watch all of that, there are individual clips of the different acceptance speeches. So you definitely want to check those out. I would like to thank our double team, our crew of two guests tonight. Today, Mara and Yell. Let's start with Mara. Tell everyone where they can check out your work.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at that Mara, Instagram at that Mara LA, because I guess there's more than one of me. You can stay tuned, because the Baking and Patreon channel is going to be launching in the fall. It's going to be a very autumnal sort of a vibe. So get ready for pumpkin spice, even though I hate pumpkin spice.
Oh, no.
And Yell, where can everyone check you out?
Yeah, I am everywhere at Yell Teagle. That is YAELTYGIEL. You can find me on this channel on Tuesdays. We have tomorrow we have Brian Darcy James of Broadway star knownness. I'm out of words. It's early. And where else can you find me? No, just find me on social media. I'll tell you where to find me there.
Yes.
I need food.
You also host a lot of things.
I host a lot of things.
Yes.
Did you drop the Law and Order? Did you say that?
Oh,
yes. Do it.
I also do a podcast for the Law and Order Special Victims Unit, greatest show of all time. That's the full title. It's called Law and Order S Review. It's usually on Sundays. We'll be back with the new season. Just look up Law and Order SVU podcast, and you will definitely find it.
And you definitely need to listen to it.
But don't ask her about the new Chris Maloney show. Okay. Wendy, where can everyone check you out?
Well, I'm going to be checking out the pumpkin spice baking channel. That's what I'm going to be checking out. Just right here at my name, Wendy Lee Zaney, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, sometimes, and on the YouTube, The Movie Couple.
Awesome. And you can find me on Facebook at my name, Instagram, and Twitter at Philbrick. And please check out moviephone.com for all your showtimes, reviews, listings, news, interviews, and so much more. We will see you back here next week to talk more nerdy stuff. Until then, have a great week.